Today is Monday, March 11th. We'll tell you where millions of Americans are going to be facing the elements at the start of this work week. Another winter storm is hitting several states. Also, we'll explain the findings from the Pentagon's new wide-ranging report into UFO sightings. Plus, the fallout from ongoing hacks at major American companies. Which small Trader Joe's item is now reselling for nearly 200 times its retail price? And the biggest moments from last night's Academy Awards. Those stories and more news to know next.
Welcome to The Newsworthy. All the day's news in around 10 minutes. Fast, fair, fun, and on the go. I'm Erica Mandy. Thanks so much for being here. You ready? Let's do this.
A winter storm is hitting parts of 10 states in the northeastern U.S. The storm system really got going yesterday, bringing wet, heavy snow and strong winds to millions of people from the Great Lakes into Pennsylvania and all the way up to Maine. Well, that same storm system continues today, with even more cold, blustery winds in major cities like New York City, Boston, Philadelphia, and Washington, D.C. And for parts of Pennsylvania, New York, and northern New England, there are still snow watches and warnings in place too. Meanwhile, back-to-back winter storms are in the forecast for the Northwest this week, and it could end up bringing quite a bit of snow to places like Colorado and Utah by the middle of the week. Former President Trump is holding off on paying writer E. Jean Carroll the damages that she won in a defamation lawsuit. But Trump is still paying up. Trump posted a nearly $92 million bond in a New York court. And that way, he can appeal the $83.3 million a jury ordered him to pay Carroll. Remember, a separate jury found him liable for sexually abusing Carroll in the 1990s and later defaming her while in office. In New York, the bond is more than the amount he was ordered to pay on purpose. That way, the money is there to go to the defendant even if the appeal fails. Trump referenced the bond at a rally in Georgia over the weekend, saying he just paid tens of millions of dollars on what he called a fake story made up, quote, by a woman that I knew nothing about, didn't know, never heard of. Similar comments to those sparked the whole defamation case in the first place. Though Carroll's legal team has not said anything about those latest statements, and for now, Trump is still fighting this and many other cases. The security situation in Haiti has now gotten so out of control that the U.S. military has airlifted American personnel out of Port-au-Prince, and other military personnel were sent in to protect the embassy. The Caribbean nation has descended into chaos, with gangs overturning the capital and the government on the verge of collapse. Gangs have attacked police stations and prisons, looted seaports and public buildings, shut down the airport, and blocked shipments of critical supplies like food. All the while, Haiti's prime minister is stranded in Puerto Rico as gang members demand his resignation. Caribbean leaders are holding an emergency meeting today to address what they're calling a dire situation. The U.S. also says it's working with Caribbean nations to find a resolution. The former president of Honduras has now been convicted of drug trafficking here in the United States. Juan Orlando Hernandez was actually once seen as a reliable Central American partner by both the Obama and Trump administrations. But now, the Justice Department says Hernandez was at the center of one of the largest and most violent drug trafficking conspiracies in the world. Specifically, the DEA administrator said the former Honduran leader worked hand-in-hand with a notorious Mexican cartel leader to send tons of deadly drugs into American communities. Prosecutors say he took millions of dollars in bribes, and he used his military and national police force to enable a so-called cocaine superhighway to the United States. Hernandez now faces a minimum of 40 years in prison and could end up with a life sentence. He's set to be sentenced this summer. The Pentagon has released its findings from its latest investigation into UFOs and extraterrestrials, but it turned up no evidence of hidden alien technology or programs and no alien visits to Earth. Congress ordered this report in response to a recent increase in claims that the military was hiding UFO evidence. Some of those claims even came from former government officials. So, the U.S. Defense Department says it approached the report with an open mind and no preconceived notions, but that in the end, it found nothing out of the ordinary. And now, this 63-page document is the most sweeping rebuttal the Pentagon has issued on the subject, insisting there's no cover-up. But this still won't be the last word. Congress mandated a second report and passed a measure last year ordering the National Archives to declassify more records. NASA and U.S. intelligence agencies are also looking at ways to collect more comprehensive data about unexplained sightings. So stay tuned. We have much more news for you still ahead. But first, a quick break. Taking care of your health can sometimes feel like a lot of work, but it doesn't have to. With AG1, I know I'm getting essential brain, gut, and immune health support with vitamins, probiotics, and nutrients from whole foods. And all it takes is one scoop mixed with water each day. It really simplifies what I need to do each morning to take care of myself. Now, the thought of taking multiple supplements sounds exhausting. Instead, just one daily scoop of AG1 covers my nutrient gaps and supports my mental and physical health without a lot of hassle. I know when I drink it daily, I'm going to feel that extra boost, and I can tell the difference. I also really appreciate that every batch of AG1 has gone through a rigorous testing process, so you know it's safe. If there's one product I had to recommend to elevate your health, it's AG1, and that's why I've partnered with them now for so long. So if you want to take ownership of your health, start with AG1. And they have a great deal for our listeners. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3 plus K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase exclusively at drinkag1.com/newsworthy. That's drinkag1.com/newsworthy. Go check it out. Okay, now back to the news. The Muslim celebration of Ramadan has just begun. It's Islam's holiest time. For the next month, 1.8 billion Muslims around the world are expected to observe Ramadan by fasting every day from dawn to sunset. It's meant to bring them closer to God and remind them of suffering of those less fortunate. On top of abstaining from eating, drinking, and smoking, many Muslims will strictly observe prayers, read the Quran, and donate to charity. Then, after the sun goes down, family and friends will get together for nightly feasts. Finally, at the end of the month, there's a big 3-day celebration called Eid al-Fitr, which means the festival of the breaking of the fast. People will gather, eat, and give gifts to mark the end of Ramadan. Microsoft says Russian spies just keep breaking into its systems using information from a recent hack. The company says first, the Russian government hackers were able to get into executives' emails. Since then, they've apparently been leveraging what they stole to try to break into customers' computer systems too. Plus, it says Russia's Foreign Intelligence Service has been escalating their attacks on Microsoft itself, looking for even more new areas to compromise. Intelligence officials around the world have warned potential victims. They've reached out to people who use cloud services like Microsoft's Office programs and Outlook email, giving them recommendations about how to shore up their security. Separately, a hack we told you about weeks ago that impacted the country's largest healthcare payment system is still causing some problems. A lot of medical care providers are now having a hard time making ends meet, and the hospital industry is calling it the most significant cyber attack on the U.S. healthcare system in American history. The issue is, the cyber attack forced the shutdown of parts of the electronic system operated by Change Healthcare, which is part of United Health Group. That left hundreds, if not thousands, of providers unable to obtain insurance approval for all kinds of services. And some, like chemotherapy and other drugs, can cost hundreds of millions of dollars a month. Providers are not able to be paid and are being forced to take out loans or in some cases drain their own bank accounts. Now the Biden administration is asking United Health Group to expedite payments to providers. U.S. health officials say they're also letting providers apply to Medicare for accelerated payments to tide them over. And they're asking health insurers to waive or relax prior authorization rules. Meanwhile, United says it's hoping to be able to reconnect the critical network soon. The American video game industry's largest union to date has now been created. Hundreds of software testers at Activision Blizzard have decided to unionize after Microsoft's takeover of the company last year. Activision Blizzard is behind blockbuster games like Call of Duty. As part of its effort to get regulators to sign off, Microsoft signed a first-of-its-kind pact to remain neutral if workers wanted to unionize. And now quality assurance workers have capitalized on it. Those are the employees who vet games for glitches and bugs. And at Activision Blizzard, that can be an important task, since it's the company behind big blockbusters like Call of Duty. But the workers emphasize the need for labor protections, saying their roles are undervalued as compared to software engineers or developers. Now, the union says it's seeking higher wages and more career opportunities. And Microsoft says it's looking forward to continuing its relationship with the employees through their bargaining representative. Another viral product seems to be causing a frenzy around the country. This time, it's a mini canvas tote bag from Trader Joe's. Shoppers have been lining up for restocks and swarming store displays. Trader Joe's says the tote is just big enough for a small paperback book paired with cheese and a baguette. It looks just like the standard reusable grocery bag, but a little bit smaller. And it's only available for a limited time, and it costs just $3 in stores. But sets of 4 are being listed for as much as $500 on eBay. Now, some stores are having to place limits on the amount people buy. Others are hanging signs saying the bags won't be available again until next year. As expected, the 96th Academy Awards was dominated by the historical drama Oppenheimer. It won Best Picture, plus its director, Christopher Nolan, won for Best Directing. And a couple of the movie's stars, Cillian Murphy and Robert Downey Jr., won for acting. Just to name a few of the highlights. Critics say the movie's standout night gave hope that traditional cinema hasn't been totally lost to franchise sequels and superheroes. In fact, in Nolan's acceptance speech, he pointed out that movies are just a little bit over 100 years old, so really, the film industry is just beginning. As he put it, quote, "Imagine being there 100 years into painting or theater. We don't know where the incredible journey is going from here." Other big winners include Emma Stone, who won Best Actress for Poor Things, Da'Vine Joy Randolph, who won Best Supporting Actress for The Holdovers, and Billie Eilish and Phineas O'Connell, who won Best Song for What Was I Made For, as featured in the Barbie movie. Other talked-about moments came from John Cena, who presented the award for Best Costumes without any clothes on, saying it was proof that costumes are important. Barbie star Ryan Gosling, who presented with Oppenheimer star Emily Blunt. They roasted each other about the friendly rivalry between their two movies that came out on the same day. Gosling also performed the Barbie ballad I'm Just Ken in an over-the-top performance that ended with fireworks. That's it for the main news, so now it's time for Money Monday, when we talk about one interesting money-related news story. But first, thanks to our sponsor, ZocDoc. Even when we do everything we can to take care of ourselves, sometimes we do need a little extra support to keep us healthy or help us recover. We all deserve a team of experts who care. And when it comes to our health, there is no compromise. Don't go back to that doctor who makes you feel bad or uncomfortable, or doesn't listen to you or answer your questions, or hasn't helped you make any progress on whatever needs medical attention. Instead, check out ZocDoc for more options. ZocDoc is a free app and website where you can search and compare highly rated in-network doctors near you and instantly book appointments with them online. I find it to be really convenient to be able to search for exactly what I need using filters, the type of doctor I'm looking for, my exact insurance so I don't waste time calling around, and my location so I can get there easily. I check ZocDoc anytime I'm looking for a new doctor to support my most valuable asset, my health. Go to ZocDoc.com/newsworthy and download the ZocDoc app for free. Then find and book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/newsworthy. ZocDoc.com/newsworthy. Okay, now back to Money Monday. There could be some relief coming for anyone who misses a payment on their credit card. Federal regulators issued a new rule last week, capping credit card late fees at just $8 for the biggest credit card issuers. That's, of course, much lower than the current average of $32. And overall, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau estimates the change will save customers $10 billion a year. Consumer advocates praise this measure, saying it will help millions of credit card users who end up having to pay late fees from time to time. But banking and credit card companies are promising legal action to stop the rule from going into effect. The American Bankers Association says the move will just cause more late payments, higher debt, lower credit scores, and reduced credit access for people who need it most. For now, the change is set to take effect in 2 months. All right, thank you so much for joining us and listening today. We'll be back tomorrow. For now, have a great day.